Hello and welcome to the unit tutorial for Year 1 Science, Unit 3, Amazing Animals, and this is video part 2. This video will walk you through the following areas: how to adapt activities and lessons, and key moments within the unit to look out for. Adapting activities can be easily done by using the ebook workbook and the snipping tool to paste the activity onto a Word or publish a document and edit it. From there, you can print it and stick the adapted activity into your exercise book or directly over the workbook original activity. You may be familiar with the snip tool, but it can be found by searching in the search bar or simultaneously pressing Windows, Shift and S. Drag your mouse to highlight the area you want to copy, and that selection of your screen can be copied onto your clipboard and then onto your Word or Publisher document. I'm now going to go through some of the activities in each of the lessons in the pupil workbook and how to adapt them. We don't have time to go through every single activity, so the ideas and suggestions I present here can also be used if fitting in the activities we don't unpick. In Lesson 1, pupils are asked to write the animal name below the pictures and then write about each animal. You can support pupils by asking them to just write the name in the box next to the animal instead of a sentence, by printing the animal names as labels for pupils to stick in, by printing sentences for pupils to read and stick in next to the correct animal, and stretch pupils by asking them if they can think of a different animal to name and describe. In Lesson 2, pupils are asked to choose one of the categories they have learnt about: mammals, fish, or birds. They then need to write the name of the category at the top, and then choose an animal that fits into that category by drawing a picture of it and labelling it. Then they need to write a sentence about why the animal fits in that category. Support pupils by adding a category name in advance, by adding an outline of an animal that pupils could colour in, by printing a label card for pupils to stick in, by giving pupils a correct sentence and an incorrect sentence to read and tick, and stretch pupils by asking them a challenge question such as, Alana says that whales are fish. Is she correct? How do you know? In Lesson 3, pupils need to sort the characteristics of reptiles and amphibians. Any characteristics that fit both reptiles and amphibians can go in the middle. Support pupils by using the additional resource by adding an example in each category. Add an image of a reptile and an amphibian to remind pupils which is which. And go through characteristics one by one as a whole class or with smaller groups of pupils. Stretch pupils by asking them to write a sentence using the characteristics to explain what a reptile is and what an amphibian is. In Lesson 4, pupils need to add pictures of animals to each category to show whether they are mammals or not. Then they need to pick two animals and write one thing about them that's the same and one thing that's different. Support pupils by adding an image in each column and by going through the image as a whole class or in small groups with an additional adult if possible. Choose the animals that pupils should compare, and you could print images of the animals to support. Stretch pupils by asking them a challenge question such as, are all mammals the same? Explain your answer. In Lesson 5, pupils need to label the parts of the bird. Support pupils by adding some of the answers to the diagram so pupils have less to complete. Adding the first letter to some or all of the answers. By printing labels of the key words for pupils to stick in. Stretch pupils by asking them how many types of birds they can name. In Lesson 6, pupils have to draw and label a fish, but this time they are not given an image. Support pupils by adding a fish outline. Add arrows to show where key words should go. And add the first letter for each key word. You could also create labels using those keywords. Stretch pupils by asking them how many types of fish they can name. In Lesson 7, pupils have to choose different animals. They should draw or stick pictures of them into the table and write or stick the correct characteristics under each animal. Support pupils by adding the animal images in advance. Add a characteristic for each animal as an example. Print both the pictures and characteristics for pupils to stick in using the answer slide. Stretch pupils by asking them if there are any similarities as well as differences between these animals. In Lesson 8, pupils need to look at the 3 pictures of teeth and write if they think they belong to a carnivore, a herbivore, or an omnivore. Support pupils by creating labels for pupils to sort and stick in. You could use the answer slides to do this. You could also do this for some or all of the answers. Stretch pupils by asking pupils which type of teeth humans have and why. In Lesson 9, pupils need to answer the question, which animals might make good pets? Which animals might make bad pets? And then they need to add pictures of them to each category. Then they should write a sentence explaining how they decided which animals make good or bad pets. Support pupils by adding examples of good and bad pets. Go through each animal as a whole class or small groups of pupils and discuss if they think they'd be good or bad pets before sticking them in. You could also give pupils a sentence starter. Stretch pupils by asking them what other good or bad pets there are. In Lesson 10, pupils have to add the labels for all the different parts of the body in this image. Support them by turning the keywords into labels to be stuck in. Add the starting letter for some or all the answers. Add some answers so pupils have more time to be successful with fewer answers. And stretch them by asking pupils if they can add any more labels like teeth, lips, toes, and hair. Before teaching a unit, plan an engaging hook to excite pupils for the learning to come. Print off any additional resources per lesson. And gather resources for specific lessons by reading through the unit planning guidance. Hopefully you now feel confident about accessing and teaching this unit. Any questions, please send to primarymastery@curriculumplus.org.uk. We welcome all feedback to ensure these resources are as supportive as possible. Thank you.